Most people spend quite a bit of time in their home, partially because we need to, for sleeping, eating, going to the bathroom, but also because home is often the place where we find the most comfort. A good home is safe and tailored to our preferences. Thus, being home is for the most part a good thing. However, this is not always the case. Besides such cases where the home itself is not good for one reason or the other, even the good homes have a danger. The danger lies in becoming too comfortable. Anxiety is a difficult thing to live with. It can range from very specific anxieties about how well you did on a test, how well your project might turn out, how much someone likes you, to far more generalized anxiety about everything and anything. When anxiety overwhelms us, we are compelled to seek safety and comfort as a means of survival, which often leads us to seek refuge in our homes. The aforementioned danger of becoming too comfortable in our homes stems from being unable to cope with the anxieties of the world, and locking ourselves away. Not every anxiety needs to be tackled head-on at every opportunity, but it is far worse to avoid all that makes us anxious by becoming barricaded within our homes. Home is not just a physical place, but also a mental construction. We can hide away from anxiety by engaging in comforting thoughts, or rather, comforting tasks that persuade us not to engage in thought. Recently I played a very short game, lasting only about 30 minutes, called Barbotine. You can buy it on Steam for $2.99, or play it for free with itch.io. It is a game that explores these themes of anxiety, isolation, and our relationship with our home. Barbotine takes us through 7 days, each being a stage in the mental journey of the main character. Day 1 begins with a house party. People are having fun, talking, eating snacks, and drinking. Your main quest for the day comes at the request of one of the partygoers. He wants a beer. You make your way to the fridge and grab a beer, but before you can make it back to the man, you are approached by a woman. She greets you in a fairly standard way. The game gives you the option to respond with 2 completely gibberish options. Upon selecting an option, the woman vomits on you. It is likely that the text being gibberish is an indication that you are unsure of your response, perhaps indicating that the main character has social anxiety. One could also interpret it as being gibberish because it doesn't really matter what you say, that the main character may not feel connected to the woman and feels like what he say doesn't matter much. You finish the quest by handing the man his beer, and the day ends. Day 2 begins inside what is presumably your home. You get up out of bed, go get some water, walk back to your room, and turn on the TV to play some video games. That's it. That's the entire day. Although this is only one day, I get the feeling that the game is trying to tell you that this is not unique, that the main character does this all the time. Day 3 is also within your home, but something has changed. Your hands are noticeably morphed. The house is noticeably darker and just looks very dirty. Your main task of the day is to head down into the basement and dig a hole. Day 4 begins the same way as Day 3. Now your hands look much worse, with little wormy things coming out of them, and black energy seeps from the floor. As you walk around the house, you see a white man with flowers and grass on his head. As you go into the kitchen, there are a ton of them, but they don't attack you, and you don't do anything about them. Your day ends with the continuation of the hole digging. Day 5 begins, and you are quite disfigured now. The hallways of the house are bleak and seem to be much longer, with walking down to the basement feeling like an eternity. When you reach the basement, one of the flower men tells you that you cannot continue to dig the hole until you look at yourself in the mirror. Once you do, you find the shovel, now looking much different upstairs. The game tells you that now the grass men are coming for you. You need to fight off 5 of them before you are finally allowed to go down into the basement to continue digging your hole. Day 6 begins with ominous music. There's holes everywhere, with cracks in the ground seemingly going down into the abyss. In the middle of the room is a shovel. Once you pick it up, you must fight your way through the house, facing 15 of the flower men. On the walls, all of the portraits are of parts of the skeleton or of the brain. And it also seems that there's medical equipment around the house. You can speed up the process of fighting them by clicking on the TV, which teleports you to the basement. Finally, when all 15 of them are dead, you may continue to dig your hole for a final time. Day 7, and everything is back to normal. Your house is clean, and there's no more basement. There's keys on the counter, which allow you to finally leave the house, and you're back to day 1. There's a lot to be said about the whole sequence of days. It's entirely possible that the events of the first day set off some sort of reaction within the main character's mind, perhaps worrying that the vomiting was because she talked to you, or maybe just being exhausted from a party at all. I think that a lot of introverted or unconfident people can relate to feeling like everybody hates talking to you. Regardless, the whole scene within your home is likely more indicative of the main character's poor means of dealing with the anxiety. On the second day, the player doesn't do anything meaningful with their life. They just drink some water and play video games, no hobbies or anything. Whether the player is trying to cope with anxiety or maybe is just like this, it's not a great way to live. And like I said, the game only shows the main character doing this for one day, but I think that it's implied that this is how the main character lives all their days. The hole digging is the central mission for the rest of the game after the party sequence. There's a lot of things that the hole could symbolize. It could be almost a literal symbol, that your habits and your way of living are causing you to dig a hole. Another way of looking at it is more abstractly as a coping mechanism that causes you to dig yourself into a hole. Whether it be drinking, smoking, or any such coping mechanism, your anxiety and isolation are fueling this bad habit. A more optimistic interpretation of the game would have you interpret the plant man as representatives of the outside world, the parts of it that you fear. Through this interpretation, the battles you go through are working through the fears, and eventually being freed and working up the courage to go outside. But I feel as though this does not explain the hole digging very well. I believe that the enemy of the game, the flower and grass men, are likely meant to represent the forces of the world that try to get you to come out of isolation, with their form literally being made of grass because they want you to go and touch grass. Another sign that this is the case is the medical equipment in the house. It's possible that on your 6th day, you are no longer really in your home. You are in the psych ward. Beating these enemies allows you to continue digging at your hole, which isn't really a good thing. The ending of the game perhaps suggests something sinister. It is entirely possible that you are not the person seen on day 7. That in succeeding to drive away the forces that wish to help you, you succeed in digging your hole, and have died. The person seen on day 7 could be someone entirely different, or it could be you in the afterlife, or perhaps reincarnated. That would explain the cyclical nature of the game looping back to day 1. Whether you interpret the main character's journey as more optimistic or pessimistic, it is clear what the game is trying to tell you. You need to face your fears and touch grass. Although it might be hard, it is better than becoming isolated within your own home and rotting away, becoming mutated into something that is actively decaying. Perhaps the only way to really know is to play the game for yourself. I have linked the game in the description for you to go support the creator. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe.